This isn't a video about throwing your phone away and going back to the dark ages. Before I dive into the 7 principles, there's something I want you to think about. Do you feel every spare moment disappears into the phone? 5 minutes before getting out of bed, 10 minutes while eating breakfast, a quick scroll before sleeping. None of those moments feel significant on their own, but together they add up to hours throughout the days. Hey, my name is Nish. I talk about minimalism, personal finance and travel. But every one of those areas depends on one thing: being present enough to actually experience them. Don't get me wrong, I love technology. I shoot my photos on my iPhone. I use it to navigate when I travel. And I use it to create this exact YouTube channel. The problem isn't the phone. The problem is when the tool quietly becomes the thing controlling your day. Over the past year, I've been paying much closer attention to my own habits. Some of these I've already built into my routine. Some have fallen away, and others I'm deliberately introducing. Together, they become the 7 principles. The first principle is simple: keep your phone out of the bedroom. The way you begin and end your day has more influence than you probably realise. If the first thing you see every morning is a screen full of notifications, your attention immediately belongs to everyone else. Emails, messages, social media and news all arrive before you've even had the chance to think for yourself. I've started creating a physical boundary by keeping my phone outside the bedroom and using an alarm clock instead. But honestly, any alarm clock will do. The point isn't what replaces your phone, the point is separating sleep from scrolling. I've noticed that when my mornings begin more quietly, I don't feel the same urge immediately to consume information. Instead, I get to decide how I want the day to start. The second principle is to make your phone less interesting. Our phones have been designed to compete for our attention. Bright colours, endless feeds and notifications encourage us to keep coming back. I've changed my environment. I use Greyscale mode, which removes all the colour from my screen, and I've deleted apps that encourage endless scrolling. If I want to check social media, I can still do it, but I do it from my laptop instead. That extra bit of friction makes me ask myself whether I actually want to check something, or whether I was simply reaching for my phone. It sounds like a tiny change, but it had a surprisingly big impact. My phone has gone back to feeling like a tool instead of entertainment. The third principle is something I think applies to almost every bad habit in life. Don't just remove the bad habit, replace it with a better one. When you stop reaching for your phone, you're left with empty moments. If you don't know what to do with those moments, you'll almost end up back where you started, and that is on your phone. So instead, I've made other activities easier to begin. I leave books where I can see them, my notebook stays on my desk, and my camera always is within reach. Recently, I started running and I noticed that simply leaving my running shoes by the door made it much easier to go out. Make the better choice easier and you'll make it more often. The fourth principle has become one of my favourites. Spend time somewhere without your phone in reach. I don't necessarily leave it at home because realistically it's useful. I use it for maps, taking photographs and staying safe when I travel, but I try to make sure it stays in my bag unless I genuinely need it. And the older I've got now, the more I've realised some moments become more meaningful because nobody else has seen it in the same way as you. The fifth principle is to create small moments of stillness. Meditation has always felt like one of those habits that sound brilliant, but also feels difficult to stick with. So instead of aiming for 20 minutes every morning, I've started making it much smaller. While the kettle boils or before I head out for a run, I'll sit quietly for just a couple of minutes. No music, no social media, no phone, just a space to sit. I've realised that my best ideas rarely arrive when I'm consuming more information. We spend so much of our lives filling silence that we've almost forgotten what silence gives us. The sixth principle is to always have something you're creating. For me, this YouTube channel is one of those projects. Photography is also another. They both remind me that there's a huge difference between spending an evening watching someone else's life and spending that same evening building something of your own. Your creative project doesn't need to become a business. It could be drawing, it could be writing, cooking, gardening, or learning an instrument. The point isn't what you create, it's that you're producing something instead of endlessly consuming. I found that more time I spend creating, the less interested I become in mindlessly scrolling. Because progress feels far more rewarding than passive entertainment. The final principle isn't really about phones at all. It's about how you begin your day. I've become much more aware of what I consume first thing in the morning, whether that's the food I'm eating, the news, the social media, or emails. They all influence how the rest of the day unfolds. If the first thing I consume is social media, I find myself looking for the same level of stimulation all day. Instead, I'm trying to begin my mornings more intentionally. Sometimes that's going for a quick 10-minute walk. Creating good habits isn't difficult. The difficult part is making them easy enough that they stick so those habits naturally happen. I know now the phone isn't the enemy. I simply want it to be the tool in its proper place. So, here's a question I'd leave you with. If your phone couldn't distract you for at least one day, what would you choose to do with that time instead? Whatever came into your mind first, let me know down in the comments below. So, on that note, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.